truly, Dr. Barry Pierre, board certified internist, national speaker, podcast host of the Lunch and Learn with Dr. Barry, and most importantly, your host and healthcare specialist blogger of Dr. Barry Pierre TV, bringing you an important topic today, right? We're going to be discussing why the AOA is suing the ABIM and what that means for you, the patient, right? So first and foremost, like I want to make sure we kind of get all of these kind of acronyms and letters out the way, right? So AOA stands for the American Osteopathic Association. The ABIM is the American Board of Internal Medicine. As an internal medicine physician myself, it's an important body of organization, but it's actually not the body of organization I'm even certified by. I'm actually certified by the American Osteopathic Board of Internal Medicine, right? So I'm actually certified by an entirely different board. But what had to occur, right? And again, we're gonna during this kind of discussion, I'm gonna have screenshots, gonna be going to kind of different pages just so you can kind of see what's going on, how we got to this point here, right? So first and foremost, let me share, and I just wanted to kind of, is like I said, it was very interesting, right? And unfortunately, as an internal medicine physician who was a recent program director, I kind of knew this was coming, right? So let's share my screen here. And then let's big that up so you can kind of see it, right? So I forget what I was doing when this kind of flashed across my phone, but like I just kind of shook my head in agreement, right? So it says AOA files suits against the ABIM. The lawsuit challenges an ABIM policy that effectively requires ACGME residency program directors to be certified by the ABIM, unfairly disadvantaging AOBIM certified osteopathic physicians. Again, was one of those AOBIM certified osteopathic physicians who would have greatly been affected by a decision like this. So what does this mean, right? And why is this important and why now? So I think to understand how we got to this point here in 2021, we have to go back to 2014, right? So just so you guys, especially if you're not in the medical education field, you may not understand like what's kind of going on and all these acronyms happening. In the United States, before 2020, we actually had two different bodies, right, that were certifying our physicians to go out and practice. One was the AOA, one was the ACGME, right? So we had two different bodies. Again, I'm an osteopathic physician. That means I'm a DO. And a majority, and I do say majority, notice I didn't say all, but a majority of DO physicians went through an AOA certified residency before they got out into practice. And if you're an allopathic, aka an MD, right, they all went through like ACGME certified programs, right? And you may be wondering, like, well, why is that important? Why does that matter, right? So before 2014, a lot of decisions had to be made, right? If you are a fourth year medical student and you are having to decide, hey, where am I going to go on to do my extra training after medical school? One of your decisions had to become, am I going to go to an AOA program or an ABIM program? Or, I'm sorry, ACGME program, right? And the reason why that was important, right? The reason why that's important is because that may affect what you do afterwards. And I think that's where the line in the sand had to be drawn, because as an osteopathic physician, we did not want our students to feel disadvantaged of having to choose whether they go to a program that's certified by our body organization or go to a program that's not certified by our body organization, the ACGME route, because it shouldn't affect whether they become a cardiologist or a thoracic surgeon. It shouldn't affect those, long-term career goals. But unfortunately, the way medicine, has been playing for quite some time, there was a lot of discrimination against osteopathic physicians. So you did have a lot of our osteopathic medical students having to decide, because the option and the concern that they may want to do something at the end of their residency was great, that they would go out and just do an ACGME certified program, right? So again, that's a problem, right? Especially if you're on the AOA side, right? And you're losing, some of your best students, right, to ACGME programs just because, ACGME programs, especially when it comes to fellowships, unfortunately, used to do a very good job discriminating against them. Right. So come 2014, right. And I want to show this letter because, again, I think it's important to kind of note almost this kind of like kumbaya moment that occurred. between the AOA and ACGME. So in 2014, and again, I was funny is I was about to graduate from residency when this letter came out official, right? In fact, I had by 2014, like I was in my last year as a resident. So during this time here, 2014, you get this letter. Dear members of graduate medical education, over the past 7 years, I've used this vehicle and open letter community to communicate important information directly to all engaged in the graduate medical education effort in the United States. Now, again, I'm not going to go read all of this. Essentially, this was ACGME's letter out saying, hey, we have some very, very big news, right? We've been talking to the AOA, right? And we're going to come together, right? And in 2014, this was the kumbaya moment that a lot of people were looking for. And then it kind of notes some of its reasons here. I'll read them off pretty quickly. One, to ensure the evaluation and accountability for the competency of physicians in graduate medical education programs are consistent across all programs, to eliminate unnecessary duplication in the accreditation of graduate medical education, to achieve efficiencies and other cost savings for institutions that sponsor duly accredited or parallel accredited allopathic and osteopathic medical residency programs, to enable residents to be eligible to enter all accredited programs in the United States. And I want to stop there because really that, I think, as a resident, as a medical student, that was probably the most important aspect for you, right? Because again, there was a lot of discrimination happening, and unfortunately still kind of happens, right, for DO students who were going into certain programs and wanted to do, further things like subspecialize, right? There was like roadblocks to say like, hey, you didn't come from this type of program, so I don't know if your training, quote unquote, is good, right? That's how they used to take care and treat our osteopathic medical students and medical residents, right? Just in general, right? So this was probably the biggest factor, right? To enable residents to be eligible to enter all accredited programs in the United States. So sounds all good, right? Sounds all, again, everyone's holding hands, everyone's walking down the same steps, right? So they had this kind of stepwise plan to kind of get there, right? Again, this is 2014. A lot that what their kumbaya change moment, aka having one accrediting body, didn't occur until 6 years later, 2020. In fact, 2020 was the first year that it was official that all programs across the country had to be ACGME certified, right? And the reason why that's important, and the reason why we got to this point at this like we're now where we're actually suing the ABIM is because the language that occurred, once all of the dust kind of settled. Because here you have again sounds great. Like let's bring these two bodies together. Like let me show you how crazy it used to be. When you were a osteopathic student going through the osteopathic match, not only were there different programs, right, that you had to apply to. Like again, there are certain hospitals that had an osteopathic program but didn't have an allopathic program. So if you were an MD, you couldn't even apply to that hospital, and then vice versa. If there was a hospital that had allopathic, a program ACGME accredited, as an osteopathic student, I could apply there, right? But like my chances might not be that great because I'm an osteopathic student, because what typically happens is there are certain board exams that I typically took during my medical school required that we don't have to take as an MD student, right? And again, we can go on that at a different discussion. But yeah, we were really going different paths, and here we are, right, trying to get to 2020, come to this like kumbaya moment. But what occurred, right, and I'm not sure if it was, oversight. I'm not sure what actually happened. But once it got to the point where, like, all right, guys, we're ready. We'll take your programs over as an internal medicine, physician. And then at the time, again, I just became a program director in 2017, I believe. Yeah, I think it was like 2017. 2017, I just became program director. One of the first things I noted was that, like, oh, hey, the line item in here says that to be a program director, aka, and if you don't know what a program director is, it is essentially is the educational leader of a residency program. But to be a program director, even of an osteopathic trained program, I had to be ABIM certified, right? I thought that was a little bit of an oversight because I said, oh, this doesn't make any sense because I'm AOBIM certified. And it's funny, like I said, 2014, when that letter came out, I took my board exams later that year. So the fact that I was a fresh AOBIM certified physician, like I thought that was kind of weird that like here was this letter saying that for me to be a program director, like I had to be ABIM certified. So I tried to give it a little benefit of the doubt and say, hey, you know what? Okay, that's fine. Maybe there's some, application that I just need to document, and maybe I just go ahead and send my certification, and they kind of convert that over. No, 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 that was not the case. What ABIM wanted you to do is literally take their exam, right? So again, we'll just put it in my picture, right? I'm a person who literally just finished taking my board exams less than 3 years ago. And here, this organization wants me to take a whole new set of board exam, right? Just so I can be a program director? That's not going to fly. And if that's not going to fly for a person like me who just took their exam, imagine the program directors across the country, right, who have been essentially kind of grandfathered in because they took it so long ago. They've been certified for so long that they don't even have to take these exams anymore. Imagine those people. So I remember like later, probably in like 2018, going to an ACGME meeting, and like one of the more hotly contested meetings was the discussion of the merger, because lo and behold, someone asked like, "Hey, like I got it, it was this what made it even more funnier is that ABIM sends me a letter, just like this, congratulatory letter, like, hey, congratulations, Dr. Pierre, on being a program director. But by the way, we need you to be ABIM certified by 2022. It was just some random year, like they needed me to be ABIM certified. And I was like, okay, that's weird. So of course everyone got this letter. So when we're going to this meeting, everyone's bringing up the fact that like, hey, why is this? Why are they telling me that I need to be ABIM certified when I'm a competent physician, and a competent physician who just happened to take the other certification? And they told us to pause. They told us to wait for a minute. Again, this is 2018. So now we fast forward to 2021, right? And now there's a lawsuit at hand, right? Which essentially means that their discussions likely didn't go as you would expect. Because again, like I said, what are you implying, right, when you're telling osteopathic physicians that they should take the A? And again, like osteopathic physicians who are currently certified, like again, maybe, right? Maybe I can listen to an argument if my certification was like about to expire, right? And say, hey, if you're gonna be a program director, do you mind? Like maybe I can listen to the argument, but even then, I'd probably be like, no, I like to stick with my own, right? Because I'm an osteopathic physician for a reason, right? Because I wanted to be an osteopathic physician. If I wanted to be an allopathic physician, just so I could take the ABIM, I would have done that, right? So you have this kind of crossroads that occur, right? That now a lawsuit is happening, right? And I think the reason why the lawsuit is happening is because we're already starting to notice, right, with this merger, we're already starting to notice, we're starting to have that same brain drain that we had when we used to have our best osteopathic medical students go to ABIM programs, because now I'm having less and less residents, right, take the AOBIM certification, even if they have no intention on going into a subspecialty. I'm having less residents actually do the AOBIM certification test. So as an osteopathic community, right, the AOA again, kind of, watches over us, right? In the osteopathic community, that's a problem, right? Because now we're having less and less of our physicians who we train in our medical schools and end up going into internal medicine take our certification test. Like what are you saying about our certification test? Because it's not like our certification test went away, right? It's still here, but you're having more and more residents saying, you know what? I'll just do the ABIM, right? Because in their minds, right, they say, hey, it's no different. And if they don't feel it's a difference, right? If they don't feel it's a level of importance, right? How can we? Like, how can I, as the program director, right? Former program director, right? Try to challenge that. So I think that's where it's come to the head, right? The AOA essentially had to sue the ABIM. And I, as an osteopathic physician who is a board certified osteopathic physician under AOBIM, the Osteopathic Board of Internal Medicine, I am, for one, in agreement for it, right? Because again, like I don't feel if I want to be a program director, ever again, right, that I should have to take your tests, right, just to say that I can do well. That doesn't make any sense, right? Like it just doesn't, right? So like I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your comments. Comment below. Let me know what you think, right? Because again, it's a concern, right? Like this is something we have to like. And again, and if there will again, and I'm just speaking from the internal medicine aspect of it. I don't know if they have that same, you know, stipulation in other residency programs. I'd be very interested to know. So if you're a part of a different residency program, especially if you're in a graduate medical education, let me know in the comments as well, if it's affecting you as well. Because all I know is, as an internal medicine physician, I stand 100% behind the AOA, that we have to stand up for our profession. And if suing you guys, right, suing you ABIM is a way to do that, I'm here for it. Let me know what you think.